So we have some new information on Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake. I mean, at this point, Assassin's Creed Black Flag is a very famous secret in the industry. It's not officially confirmed by Ubisoft, but we keep getting leaks and new information and rumors literally pretty much every week at this point. So there's this French magazine called Jaybeazt. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a video game magazine in France, and they released a video on YouTube talking about Black Flag Remake new details. Apparently, they got very reliable sources that has confirmed this. Again, this is not officially confirmed by Ubisoft, but it is out there, so take it with a grain of salt. The details seems pretty legit though, I must say, and some of the stuff that they have mentioned got me pretty excited actually, but some of the stuff that I do have thoughts on. But the thing is, the whole video is on French. I have gone ahead and translated the entire script to English using various tools, including ChatGPT, my boy, and summarized everything. And I read through pretty much everything, and I'm ready to talk about it. So let's dive in. All right, so let's talk about who's leading the charge with this game. Apparently, it's been done by Ubisoft Singapore, which made Skull and Bones, if you remember that game, the quadruple A game that we so love. But it kind of makes sense that they're leading the charge with the remake because they already made a pirate game with a lot of the assets that probably weren't used in Skull and Bones. So they could be repurposing some of the, I guess, most of the assets that they made for Skull and Bones and repurpose that to save development time and cost. So it kind of makes sense. So I don't know what kind of role Ubisoft Montreal is going to be playing for in terms of the remake, because they are the studio that actually made the original game. It doesn't seem like they mentioned that in any of the stuff that they talked about here. But apparently, there are support studios like Ubisoft Belgrade and Ubisoft Bordeaux are assisting with various aspects of the development, probably building assets and stuff like that, maybe. Um, and what's interesting is the development status, which is they're saying it's nearing the end of production with potential release window for early 2026, though late 2026 if possible, but I really doubt whether it could be late 2026. The chances are they might actually put all resources and try to get this out as early as possible so it doesn't eat into their next main entry of the Assassin's Creed series, which is supposed to be Assassin's Creed Hexe, which, for those who you don't know, is supposed to be like a very dark version of Assassin's Creed set during like witch trials. Um, and it's been made by the same team who made Valhalla, so it's going to be like an interesting turn for the series. So yeah, we still don't know anything about the game, so we'll see when that happens. But I really doubt that they will push the release date of that just because they want more time for Black Flag, which is just a remake. So I would assume they will try to get this out as quickly as possible so they can focus on that game. But it also depends on a few other factors, like GTA 6 is a huge contributing factor for the release dates at the moment. I know they've locked in May 2026. However, there's a lot of speculation in right now saying that could also get delayed again, which won't be news at this point. Rockstar is notorious for saying that they locked in a date and then also going back on it and then delaying all the time. So a lot of people right now saying that it could get delayed further from May. If that happens, all these release dates will be up in the air for other studios as well, because nobody wants to release their game around GTA 6, right? So let's see what happens. The next thing is map and world design. Islands have been redesigned with more missions and activities to enhance exploration and improved exploration. Loading times have been removed when transitioning between ship and land for smoother gameplay, and the modern day storyline has been reduced or removed focus on Edward Kenway's pirate era adventures. This is interesting. So islands have been redesigned with more missions and activities to enhance exploration, which I think is pretty cool. If you remember the original game, it did have a lot of islands that you just couldn't visit. And also when you like get on the ship and get off the ship, there was a loading screen, and there was like a cut which is apparently not going to be there anymore. It'll just be like you can get on the boat, you can get on the ship, you can get off the ship, dock it, and then just smoothly transition into land and back to ship. There's no loading screens, which is awesome, which kind of makes sense for a modern game. And the fact that you can actually visit most of these islands now, because most of the little islands that you could visit in the old game were just there for like decoration, I guess. Like you couldn't actually go in and visit those, but that's not going to be the case. You will be able to go into these islands and they will have activities and stuff like that, which is cool, and like things to find, which is actually kind of more than I expected from the remake, which is fantastic. I love it. But the other thing, I guess would be pretty controversial at this point, is the fact that the modern day storyline has been reduced or removed to focus on Edward Kenway's pirate era adventures. I am a huge fan of the modern day storyline, and I think when it comes to Assassin's Creed, there are like two types of people who love the modern day stuff and who don't really care about it, because they just love the historical settings and that's what they play Assassin's Creed for. I, for one, really did enjoy both aspects of it. I think what made Assassin's Creed stand out is because there was a modern day storyline attached to the whole historic setting, like the whole Animus thing, the especially the Desmond Miles story arc. But it just wasn't interesting after he got killed, and then it just became like this kind of like a boring little bit that's get added to the game just because we want to make sure that it's kind of there, like to remind players that oh yeah, that Animus is still there, kind of thing. I wish it had gone somewhere, but by the point that we get Black Flag, it's kind of like the modern day storyline that you have in that game is kind of boring. Like it kind of breaks the immersion, in my opinion, between pirating and then uh like the modern day part. Because if you remember, the most of the modern day part is like you're in first person just walking around like Ubisoft office, Abstergo office, right? It's just it wasn't very engaging, and it kind of breaks up the whole immersion in the story. So I think they made a right decision specifically with this game to cut that off. um Although I do wish that like somehow they actually continued that in a better way. But I mean, if you look at the Shadows, barely got anything in terms of modern day. So yeah, kind of makes sense. Like they cut it off, so you have like better gameplay and more content in terms of Edward Kenway stuff. And yeah, I'm here for it, dude. Let me know what you think. But I think even as a fan of the modern day story, for this specific one, for Black Flag remake, it kind of makes sense because it just the modern day stuff that was in the original game doesn't really add to anything. So, and speaking of that, we got to talk about the combat system, which apparently has a lot of RPG influence. Combat leans towards RPG mechanics with less choreographed action and more strategic play. I guess, yeah, I kind of expected that would be the case, because if you remember the old Assassin's Creed games before Origins, up until Syndicate, used like the paired animation combat system, right? So what it does is it connects the animation of your attack to an animation of the NPC's attack, and it kind of pairs, and whichever connects, it plays an animation together. So it's like a paired animation combat, which is cool, like which is what I grew up playing, and I really did like the system. But the thing is, the system is pretty simple. It's like you just get your basic attack and your basic parry and counter attack, and that's pretty much it. There's no nuance to it. Since Origins and up until now, we have moved away from that system, and now we got more like a hitbox system, which which is kind of like the mainstream for any modern game today. So I kind of expected they would go down the route of updating the combat mechanics to the modern day games. So yeah, they're using more towards that hitbox system, more strategic play, which makes sense, but also means this would also mean that they're going to have to update the whole the loot system, the weapon system, the skills, ability systems, all of that. So I guess it's been mentioned that they are upgrading and changing weapons, armor, and equipment will have stats and be customizable, integrating with loot and progression systems. And players can invest in skills and abilities to match their preferred play style. So yeah, so they're saying they're going to be upgrading the whole system, which kind of makes sense. If you can't really upgrade the combat system and leave the old weapon, loot, and skill system, you just have to update the whole thing together altogether, because they're all very much tied into each other. Yeah, I kind of expected that. I'm fine with that. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's a welcome addition. It says naval gameplay, enhanced naval mechanics, improved ship combat and customization. Yeah. Resource management. Players will gather and manage resources to optimize naval expeditions and battles. Cool. Story and narrative. Expanded content. Leaks suggest up to 4 extra hours of gameplay, potentially including previously cut storylines like Mary Reed's arc. Yeah, kind of makes sense, I suppose. If you don't know who Mary Reed is, you should go look it up, dude. There was a cool storyline in the original Black Flag about Mary Reed. Yeah, I won't talk about it because if you're planning to play the remake, I don't want to spoil it for you. But it's cool that they're getting more gameplay content, which is cool. And the remake is modernized reinterpretation with updated content and systems, not a strict remaster. Yeah, that I expected from a remake. I mean, it's not a remaster, it's a remake. So when you get there's a difference between a remaster and a remake. Remaster is usually when you get a game and kind of update the textures and improve a little bit of quality of life, but the base game stays the same. It's running on the same engine, it's the same mechanics, everything. It just looks better and it plays a little bit better. That's a remaster. They haven't altered anything in terms of like anything else, like any in-game systems or anything. They don't touch that. But when you do a remake, it's when you build a whole game from the ground up. It's a remake of an existing game. It's exactly as the name suggests. Like when you get a remake of a movie, you get a completely remake of that movie. It's not like updated visuals. It's not like getting Terminator 2 in 4K. Like that's a remaster, right? Like you original Terminator would have come out on VHS, but you get a Blu-ray copy of that, which is a remastered version. Yeah, and they're using the new pipeline engine used in Shadows, not the old Anvil engine that was used for Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Yeah, like I said, they're using everything from ground up. They're building everything from the beginning. So it's a true remake. I honestly think that some of this stuff are very interesting, and I'm here for it. But I would say some people would have a lot of issues with the fact that the modern day storyline being cut. Some probably would have an issue with the combat system being RPG based, like the newer games are, since Origins have been, compared to like old Assassin's Creed games with the paired animation combat. So I would assume that some people thought when they're getting a remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, they would retain that combat system, but that's not appears to be the case. I kind of expected that to be the case, because why would you make a remake of an old game without updating the combat system to what you currently offer in your new games, right? So I think it kind of expected, but I guess some people would take issue with it. But let me know what you guys think. What you think of all these new information about the Black Flag remake. What do you think about the whole combat being RPG heavy? What do you think about the modern day storyline being cut? Do you like it? Do you prefer that, or are you taking issue with it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like. That really helps me out. And please consider subscribing. That also helps me out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.